Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. And we are zooming in and focusing in a little bit more in depth in terms of understanding the origination of the supply source, the really status of codependency, Dr. Craig Malkin, the echoist, when we're talking about how a relationship evolves and grows with a covert narcissist. Someone who basically under the radar is able to encapsulate another as a supply source, a support source, and really does this in a position of a devoid of empathy, meaning that they aren't really sensitive to acknowledging and validating the needs, desires, wishes, and sort of denies the tension that others are going through. But before we get started on today's topic, I want to give a super huge shout out to those of you who have recently stepped up to the plate and donated to the Peace and Harmony channel. Thank you so much for your recent donations and your kind words. It basically lets me know that the content that we're providing is of value, that it resonates and it hits home. And I really do send a thank you note with hopefully some additional tips to those who have recently donated. So thank you so much. It's with my heartfelt gratitude that you have advised me that this is really sort of helping you to sort through some things and see things more clearly. That is absolutely the goal and objective and intention of the Peace and Harmony channel. So thank you so much for reaching out. It's an honor and a privilege and wonderful to hear from you. And absolutely, if the channel here has been a positive resource, provided you some tools, please do feel free to donate to the channel and participate. There is a PayPal Donate Now button here on the About page at Peace and Harmony, where you can make a donation. So thank you so much for helping to keep the channel alive. So we're zooming in and focusing in a little bit more in depth in terms of understanding how one becomes slowly, it basically catches up on you, where you become in a disempowered or supply state, especially as it is in diametrically opposed to that of a covert narcissist. Someone who, through their sense of entitlement, through their position of status or power, their pathological sense of self-importance, it really gives them an ability to be cold or callous or engage in emotional manipulation of others, especially through boundary violation in the opposite direction of what you need. So basically, namely that of ignoring, withdrawing, invalidating, not meeting you in the middle in terms of really sort of validating your experience, your needs, telling you that they are dismissive, that it doesn't really matter. They'll get around to it. Just sort of, grazing by you and not really acknowledging, validating, and taking ultimately the issue is responsibility for their role in the relationship. So there is a huge plague of irresponsibility when we talk about a covert narcissist. They don't want to take blame. They don't want to hear the message that you're saying. And basically, they do this, especially in the beginning of the relationship, where they're asking you to take the high road, to act, to act as if it doesn't matter, to basically assure you that your needs, should just blow over, and they are very dismissive of your cries for attention or help or understanding, and they really cause a very chronic and undergirding suffering for you. And basically, you take a hit for the team. You make that self-sacrificing saying, you know what, maybe I'm just being, I'm being too sensitive. Maybe I really should consider the fact that I don't need to work. Consider the fact that I should not attend to my needs. Consider the fact that maybe I should continue to self-sacrifice. That I am coming from a wrong angle, that this person is always right. And so the dynamic that ends up happening is that ultimately you begin to live life through their eyes. you're not able to see the relationship or life at large through your own eyes, through your own heart, through your own purpose, through your own desires. And then the tension of this, then seeing things through your own eyes, becomes the new normal. That's what becomes real to you. You become used to, though, and then over-conditioned or programmed, as they say in psychology, to seeing things through their eyes. In other words, meeting their needs and denying or dissolving or washing away, or even worse, eliminating of your own needs, of seeing things through your own eyes, your own perspective. That becomes very dismissed in your own heart, in your own mind, in your own spirit. It becomes tucked away, yet your subconscious mind knows better. It knows that you are really supposed to be receiving on a certain end. Your opinion, your needs, your voice does have value. You are important. You are involved. Yet this gets pushed down. And what gets pushed down or repressed within you gains resistance. So you're constantly having to live in a tension of pushing this down. And then this becomes the new normal. This becomes what is real to you. This is what becomes then basically the development or the conditioning of yourself to repress these and push these down. It becomes like the self-denial becomes the new normal, and this is what becomes real to you or your truth. And then you are constantly seeing things. Pay very close attention, because what you're doing is you're seeing things through their eyes. You're engaging your choices and your behaviors according to their needs, according to that social pressure. It's like the ultimate peer pressure. It's just like, hey, don't do your homework. Come with us to the playground if you want to be popular. Hey, in other words, it would be more important for you to become the class clown and say, I don't need to do this homework. I'm too cool for school. I don't need to read. I don't need to listen to the teacher, and then you're gaining that sort of social validation. This is a huge driving force in human behavior, is to be loved and accepted. And the human mind and subconscious is so complex that it can cause you to push down your true needs, your true self-preservation, your true health, your true instinct, your true higher consciousness. It can say, push these aside, don't attend to this, attend to the needs of this person. So you begin then to live life through their eyes. You begin to basically absorb their needs above and paramount, more important to your own. So their needs are always on the forecast. Is it going to be sunny today? Is it going to be cloudy? All I know is that I need to satisfy this person's needs. That is what the internal emotional climate is going to be. I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to be shining. I'm not going to really be able to attend to my heart and deal with all the hot mess that it might create. I'm going to keep everything hunky-dory, peaceful on the cool front, and I'm just going to rise up to the occasion, take the high road, push my needs down, and then meet this other person's needs. And little by little, you're basically creating like an emotional climate which is not to your own best interest, your own best power, your true happiness, your true instinct, your true inner voice. You begin to push it down, push it down, push it down. And over a period of days, weeks, months, and years, your needs become so numbed out and so pushed out of awareness that you can't recognize them anymore. You can't give life to it. You can't get verbalization. You can't make them real. You can't make them your truth. Basically, it becomes, you create a false self, which feels like your authentic self, yet you feel in your heart of hearts that you've got to be off track, that you're really kind of not where you're meant to be. You're not really sort of present. You're either living way in the future, trying to make sure that you're dodging any potential bullet that can come your way, that you don't lose the relationship. You basically become overprotective of yourself, and learn to adapt by coping and being and living through the eyes of this person, meeting their needs above and beyond your own. And really what becomes the disaster, what becomes the difficulty is when you can't recognize your own instinct, and then for getting your health needs met, your relationship needs, your belonging needs met, so you begin the isolation. You begin the feeling of loneliness, pathological loneliness, isolation. No one loves me. I can't have any relationships. I am becoming, lack of autonomous. In other words, I'm becoming dependent on what others think. I'm constantly in the people-pleasing seat. I'm constantly having to drive other people to their games, to their meetings, to their doctor appointments. Nothing is ever about me, and that is my truth. That is what is real to me, and you're basically living your life through their eyes, and this becomes your role or your life, and you don't know better, especially if you're in this relationship where, they can be your spouse, your fiance, your father, your mother, your sister, always acquiescing and giving in to their needs. And the problem is that these needs are manipulative in nature. They're keeping you down a level. They're keeping you in a relegated state of less than, lower than, and under the power and jurisdiction over. Like they are the mayor, they're the governor, they're the president, they're the chief, they're the CEO of your emotional life, and you no longer have authority over yourself. Your behavior is disruptive, and you become to get the finger pointed at you. You are out of control, you're emotionally wackadoodle, everyone, it's the crazy making, you begin the walking on eggshells, you become, to feel like everyone else is living their life, and you are not really living your life, and you can't quite put a finger on it, you can't quite articulate it. And that is developed, especially in the love bombing and sort of the conditioning, if you will, the programming of you will, the hardwiring of your brain and your neurochemicals, which are based on the survival that I must not muddy up the waters. I must, continue to make things clear for the covert narcissist and muddy for me. So people say I'm in a dark time. I'm in a valley of my life. I'm not able to get traction. I'm not able to sort of self-preserve. I'm going on disability. I'm, hanging around with the wrong crowd. I'm becoming, underemployed. I'm becoming unemployed. I'm becoming dependent. I'm not able to develop my own talents, my own life purpose. My life doesn't really have meaning. I feel, severely jealous, or then the paranoia, if this person is shying away from you and they're even more, pushing away, you have to then try harder to live life through their eyes again. So maybe I need to lose a bunch of weight. Maybe I need to gain a bunch of weight. Maybe I need to throw a tantrum. Maybe I need to, open up, finally, basically you hit a rock bottom, and then you open up the emotional can of worms. Then on the holidays, you're then, hey, guess what, everybody? And then you're sending out, a crazy email that's trying to let out all of your secrets, and then it just comes flooding out of you. And then next thing you know, you're living in your car, a motel. Everyone, is wondering what's going on. No one wants to talk to you because the S has hit the fan. You are in the valley of the relationship. Basically, and everything becomes an uphill battle. And this can basically make you want to shut down. And the cause that has created this effect is creating the false persona, even though it feels authentic and real. It is because you've pushed the real you aside while you're living through their eyes, how they perceive things. But the problem is that it is a manipulation tactic. In other words, they are causing you to feel guilty. They're causing you to feel less than. You're not getting it. You're not seeing things their way. When really, you don't need to see things your way. You need to see things and embrace things your way. You know what is right and best for you. It's the subjugating. It is the annihilation. It's the pushing down, the repressing. But as we said earlier in the video, your subconscious knows best. It's the recovery and opening up of this what you know best, how things should go, instinctually built in to your own emotional limbic brain, which is what is right for you. In other words, to be given eye contact, to live in a safe environment, to be able to eat a meal with somebody and not feel embarrassed, to be able to walk in your own house and not be yelled at, to walk in your own house, in your own family, and not be ignored, not be stonewalled, to the point where it becomes unhealthy. You know, we should exchange more than 5 words in a week. We should have more dinners out. We should have more family gatherings. Things should not be this way. I just know it in my heart, and I know this to be the case. That's because your physiology is not meant to live in the fight or flight. Your physiology is not meant to live in a constant state of fear or paranoia, which is slowly and like a micro amount on a daily basis that there's something wrong with you. You're too needy. But it's usually with a covert narcissist, you're trying to pull them in, but you end up having to push yourself away in order to do it. In other words, it becomes out of balance. On a percentage basis, it becomes really 90% about them and maybe 10% about you. Or even, a less than percentage. When things should really be balanced, pretty 50-50. It is safe to say that, you should not feel bad, guilty, out of place, in a wrong, I am inherently wrong from requesting something to be so, to the point where then you have to go to a counselor for validation. You're having to give up the health insurance card and say, please put this on my health insurance, my Blue Cross Blue Shield, my Aetna, or whatever it is. We need some help here. We have a problem. We have an issue. And I'm just going to pull this in a little closer. And it is to understand that, you then need professional help. You then, need a coach in your corner. You need really, like now in the information age, we're so much more able to have content from people who have really niched out, as I say, we've niched out in this area. So, in other words, we understand this dynamic in depth. I mean, we're able to drill down, drill out, drill way up, and know what health and healing is about. And if you're like someone like myself, developing content and tools and resources to help people get a landing, to get to the place of the new normal, the right normal for you, the right real. It is to understand that this reality does not have to be where you're living life through their eyes. Because it's very important that you then live life through your eyes, hence the recovery date, hence the recovery journal, hence the lessons learned, hence the awareness, the use of metacognition, your mind's ability to think about what you're thinking about and actually observe things, and not launch off into basically a manic attack, or where you're, really things are out of control and then you're making some rash decisions because you've been so disconnected from what you really need and what you're really getting. So there's what we call a cognitive dissonance between what you're really getting and what you're really know in your heart. Or then to create the bridge, to create the connection between that is having the tools, the verbalization, the awareness of your feelings, how to communicate. If you are so divorced from yourself and you're worried about divorcing this person, you should really look at your commitment to yourself as number one important, especially if you were married or found this person in your life before you were really mature or ready, and then you're basing your whole assessment and judgment of yourself of how good you are at relationships or, living your life the right way so it makes sense. You're basing your judgment of yourself based on this pathological person, then you are making too harsh a judgment on yourself. You're not giving your real heart a chance, the real sun in your life a chance. You're not giving clarity a chance. You need to get some distance, and you do need to listen to videos. get yourself some resources, understand the cause that creates this effect. What is it truly like when you're in a relationship with a covert narcissist? How does this affect you? How does it affect furthermore, and this is all such a psychologically super in-depth stuff, which I really want you to understand in an everyday, waking, useful manner. We're all about results here on the channel. And making this usable, changeable in the immediate, in the now, in the present. So you're like, hey, dang, I got something out of that video. I get it now. We want those aha moments to take place in, the comfort of your home, your vehicle, your gym, wherever it is you listen to the content. Is to say, I get it now. It's to say that I can see clearly my own reality and how, the cause has created this effect. I understand how this occurred, how I then evaluated and judged myself through the eyes of this pathological individual, how I'm evaluating myself through the eyes. I'm saying the eyes because that's where the trauma bond begins connected. You're seeing things through their needs and not your own. So you become misplaced. You feel lost. You feel like you have misplaced yourself, or a sense of what I call self-abandonment. Some might call it spiritual abandonment, but you might know because, you might go to church, you might go to your religious ceremonies and you bust out crying because you are so hurt, or you're in the grocery store and or a shopping store, you're at Macy's, you're at Nordstrom's, you're, wherever, and then you just start crying. You start driving, you start crying, things happen in your life, you feel emotional mess, and you can't, you just feel like things aren't right. You're not knowing how to handle things correctly. You just know you can't stand another birthday, you can't stand another Thanksgiving this way. You have to be able to bring it forth. And the number one goal that I want you to understand is that you need to see things through your own eyes. Separate and divorce yourself from evaluating yourself and your needs through this other person's eyes. And where this has gotten you off track, meaning, you can't have your own friends. You can't earn your own money. Your needs aren't being met. You're not able to hold hands and take a walk with this person. You're not able to be treated with the respect that you need. You're not being able to, have your needs attended to. You're not getting someone saying, hey, you look beautiful today. Hey, thank you for making dinner. Thank you for cleaning the house. Thank you for raising the kids. Giving you the love, showing you, that you are amazing, showing you that you have done a phenomenal job in the relationship. Taking you for granted gets a little old, and being taken for granted eventually will bust out open, and you will feel that something's wrong. It's time to be able to label the feeling and understand what it is. It's because you have so accommodated them and you've so acquiesced to their needs as the new normal, what is real to you, that your needs then become unreal. You have this dehumanized dissociative state, the chronic unhappiness, the CPSD. You can't go through, you feel constantly anxious, you feel afraid. It's because you don't know how to connect to your own needs and desires and then embrace them, follow up for fear of judgment, reprimand, being alone, being looked at with the sneer, told your family that, you're the black sheep, you're gone off the deep end because you want to do something. You need to have that really retreat, that commitment and marriage to yourself, especially if you've met this person earlier in your life. You have to have that inner commitment to yourself and your needs and being able to embrace them. OMG, I get you now. You need a pet. You need love. You need someone to hold you by the hand. You need the back scratch. You need someone to make your dinner. You need to have someone say, how is your day today? Drop everything and give you the time of day. And you're not getting it. And so it is time to acknowledge, validate, and then furthermore, as I discussed in the recovery journal, write down. Even though in your recovery journal, and we go through a lot of exercises here. So here's a good one for you today. Even though I've never received it from this person, what I truly do need, and I'm not embarrassed about, is, and write it down 1 through 20. 1 through 20. I don't care if it's as simple as I need someone to listen to me, look at me, just give me a hello, stop criticizing me. I don't need to give you all the answers, but these are some of it. Stop making me feel stupid because I want to do this, because I want to have a clean house, because I want to have a messy house. Whatever it is, you need to acknowledge and validate your needs because they are real. They're real to you. And your fear, your chronic fear and unhappiness is because you haven't been able to live these. There's been a disconnect between what you're actually doing and what you truly need. So in other words, it's saying, yep, honey, let's go ahead and take out another credit card. Yes, honey, let's go ahead and do this for the family. Honey, you're lacking honesty and clarity with yourself. You're trying to compensate and live according to their needs. Yes, I don't need another vacation. I don't need dinner cooked for me. I don't need my back scratched. I don't need a kiss. I don't need a smile. I don't need someone to talk to me. All these needs that you've pushed down, and in the name of either your marriage or your family or self-sacrifice, as I say, you're living the Mother Teresa syndrome. Self-sacrifice. I'm living like a martyr. This is not how you're physiologically wired to live. And you'll know that because you're not able to continue. You will hit a relationship burnout. You'll hit the rock bottom. You'll hit the fact, I can't cook the dinner anymore. I'm done. And then eventually you find yourself, getting in the car, driving 500 miles, and you don't know where you're going, but you just know that you're leaving. You don't have a plan. So it's important for you to embrace your needs through your own eyes, and become comfortable with disapproval. This is a huge one. We are really hitting on, and I'm really trying to provide a lot of intense content, whether you've just joined me or you've been with me, since day one or for a year or so. I want you to really look at these because eventually all these lessons are going to be able to take you through not only the here and now, but even later, it's going to help you to expand and validate your needs because your needs are going to grow. You're not a static human being where you just sit in the mediocre. Your life is going to continue to grow. And the great thing is that the universe wants you there. The universe is there to deliver and give you signs and help you to meet your needs and help you to make those life changes. Even, and be there in the miracle, be there in the miraculous, be there in the majestic, be there in the magic, where it's like, OMG, like, it's now coming together. It's now making sense. So it's to acknowledge and become comfortable with disapproval and become comfortable with vocalizing your needs. Become comfortable with confronting these people. And all of a sudden, you'll really know that you did the right thing when all of a sudden things begin to change, things begin to shift. People begin treating you with respect. People begin deferring to you. People begin to acknowledge and validate and respect you when they see that you're now able to put 5 to 15 words together. I need this. I am no longer, giving in to this. I'm no longer allowing this. This is where I stop, and this is where my life begins. It's being able to say this again and again and again in very committed terms and very clear terms that you are not going around, you're not going into that show anymore. You're not showing up as the victim anymore. You're not showing up in that I am. It's very significant, and we're going to go into more in depth as we do have a lot of viewer questions about how to vocalize that. How do you really confront? How do you do this without feeling, as a lot of viewers say, like a narcissist yourself? We're going to go into that in future upcoming videos. And I want you to understand that your needs are real, they are important. The universe at large, the big picture, will acknowledge and validate it and cause you, once you get that self-respect, I deserve that respect, and my needs are right on, that there's nothing wrong with needing this. Once you get that in your heart and you begin to articulate it, you'll find that the ship begins to turn, the tides begin to turn to help move you. You know, the emotional rudder is steering you into like, I can handle this waters, rather than the choppiness of self-denial. And you're beginning to live and breathe your needs. And that it's really amazing and really awesome then when relationships begin to turn the tide also, and you begin to get that acknowledgement, validating, and that respect, and to do it with safety and security and not fear. Live it through your own eyes, your own needs. Do not be ashamed. Do not doubt. Do not acquiesce to those covert narcissist needs through their eyes. Do not deny yourself. Do not doubt yourself. Do not let yourself down. It's Peace and Harmony with you here today. I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.